Hi everyone! Today we are going to be doing a video that I said a while ago that I was going to be doing on my channel, and that is the review of the Dose of Colors foundation and concealer. I just haven't gotten around to filming it yet, so I'm not going to be doing a wear test with this today just because it's a little bit later in the afternoon. It's already about 4 o'clock, and I just know that by the time it, would be actually a length to be able to test it, it's going to be way too late, and I'm not going to want to film a check-in at that point. I have worn these a few times before. I got them in the middle of March, so it's been a while. I have had a chance to kind of test it out a little bit, so I kind of know what I like and what I don't like with these products. So definitely more of a review than just like a first impressions kind of a deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Just put my hair back in my little headband. I'm going to be using the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothing Priming Moisturizer. This is one of my favorite priming products. I really do find that it helps my dry skin to kind of look a little bit better with more matte foundations, and this is a more matte and full coverage foundation. So sorry if my lighting is a little rough today too, just because of where the sun is sitting at in my window. I had to close my curtains because it just was not hitting the correct spots, and it looked awful with the window open, so hopefully you guys can still see kind of everything that I am doing. I'm also taking this primer underneath my eyes here to make sure that they're really hydrated in that area, because the concealer is a little bit more of a dry formula, so I want to make sure my under eyes are nice and hydrated for that as well. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of my Revlon Photo Ready primer in my T-zone just for that kind of the larger pores that I have. I'm just really taking my time and like pressing that in. All right. And today is kind of a good day to test this out because my acne has been really kind of flaring up. So you can see that I do have quite a bit of like discoloration and spots here and just a lot of like redness. So you'll be able to see kind of how well this foundation really covers. So I'm gonna just pump it onto the back of my hand here. And then we're gonna do half of my face with a sponge and the other half with a brush, just so you can see the difference. But I really do prefer a sponge with this foundation. And the sponge that I am using is the Dose of Colors foundation sponge. I really like it. It's very soft and fluffy, very like marshmallowy, and that's kind of my preferred texture in a sponge. And this color match is just phenomenal. This is probably one of the best color matching foundations that I own, and this is the shade 103. Another reason I closed my curtain is because, as you can still probably hear, it is very loud outside today. As the weather has gotten nicer, more and more people have started to kind of go outside here in New York, and it's just been a lot louder than it was during the beginning of quarantine. The one thing that I do find with using the sponge is I do have to use a bit more foundation to get the kind of coverage that I want. out of it, so I've used almost a full pump here on just this side, which I normally do not use that much. I usually go very sparingly with my foundations. I just find that they tend to look less cakey on my, again, super dry skin. But I think that that looks nice. You can see that it covered most of what I have going on. There's obviously a couple spots that are still going to kind of come through, which, again, with the sponge too, is gonna kind of soak up the product, and I never expect a foundation to completely cover my acne spots. It's just not really realistic in my opinion, but I think that it looks nice. All right, we're gonna go in then, as I throw my foundation, we're gonna go in then with another, probably about a half a pump on the other side of my face, and I'm gonna use my IT Cosmetics brush. It's just the one that's kind of shaped triangularly. And I'm going to start by kind of buffing it in, and then really just pressing to make sure that there's no like streaks or anything in the foundation. Just gonna take just the little bit that's left and really try to cover up the rest of the redness that I have. But mostly everything is covered, which is nice because my face was feeling and looking very red today. So there's the difference. I do think that you can see a difference in coverage. I think that there is more coverage with the brush slide, but I do find that's typical. Just to kind of even it out, I'm gonna go in with my sponge on this side and just kind of press everything in. Also just to make sure that there's no streaks, which there really weren't. I do find that this primer particularly really does help with making your foundation go on smoother. I don't think that all of the primers that I've used with it have been beneficial to like that aspect of it. I have also used it quite a few times with like my Becca the backlight priming filter, and it's just, in my opinion, not enough of a smoothing effect to really make the foundation kind of like set well onto my skin. So, but that's the foundation. Okay, now we're gonna go in with the concealer, and the shade that I have is 02 Fair. I did pick up a slightly lighter shade than the foundation just because I do like that brightening effect under my eyes, and I have been like loving this concealer. My favorite thing I think about this concealer and this foundation, I really don't have to set them, which I love with my dry skin because I typically actually do still set my face, even though my skin is very dry. I just like that kind of secure feeling that I feel like my foundation isn't going anywhere, and these give me that without even having to like actually powder and make sure that it's going to stay on, which is so nice. So I'm just using the shade to brighten, and then we're gonna go in with another concealer to spot conceal. So I'm just going in with my finger also just to warm up my ring finger and just pressing this concealer into my skin as well. Why someone is currently riding a dirt bike outside is beyond me. just like don't understand. I'm sure that you guys can hear it. It is incredibly loud, and they just keep like going up and down the street. Okay, I'm just gonna go in and, again, press everything in. Awesome. Okay, so I don't need a lot of extra coverage, but I do need just a little bit to kind of cover a couple of these spots over here. And I'm gonna take my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, and this is the shade Vanilla, which is light 2. Most of this is very well covered, so. I am almost out of this concealer, and it makes me so sad because I love it. I need to pick up a new one. Which, I guess I don't really need to, because as you guys are going to see soon, I'm actually doing another video with, about a haul that I did, just a bunch of makeup, so you're going to see that I don't really need anything else, but, this is one of those concealers that I, like, always want to have on hand. I love my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. Just really taking my time just to make sure everything is blended in really well. I hate the way that, like, foundation looks just sitting on top of my skin, so I think blending it in is really key. All right, and you can see my skin looks very skin-like. You can still see, you know, a little bit of the imperfections, and you really could build this foundation up with like another layer to make it completely like really set down in place and very matte and very full coverage, but I don't really like that kind of a like makeup-y look, so I definitely am kind of going for the more natural matte side of it, which the glowy primer really makes it look a little bit more skin-like and just natural on my face, I think. But you really, again, you could use a mattifying primer if you have more oily skin, and it would really look just fine as well, I think. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just quickly do my face makeup, and then I'm just going to speed through it all so that you can watch it, but I'm not gonna like talk through it with everything, so. I am gonna actually first though just set down the spots that we just spot concealed. I'm dropping everything today. I will spot or powder my spots just to make sure that the foundation really does stay on in those areas, and the concealer and stuff. That's the one place that I have been powdering right now, but other than that, everything else we're gonna just leave as is. So again, I'm just gonna let you guys watch so that you can see how the products go on, but I'm not gonna like talk you through it or anything, unless there's anything like noticeable. So Park Avenue Princess for bronzer. This is by Tarte. I'm going in with the Cover FX Blush Duo. I'm going to mix both the matte and shimmer shades. Kylie Cosmetics highlighter in Ice Me Out. Alright, and then I'm going to do my brows off camera really quick, and I'm just going to use the LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil, and this one is in the shade Medium Brown, and then I have the ColourPop Brow Boss Gel in the shade Light Brown. Okay, we're back. Eyebrows are done. I also noticed as I was doing my eyebrows, my room is so messy right now, and I did not close the closet doors, so apologies in advance for that. I'm also batch filming right now, so like the next couple videos are probably gonna have my messy room in the background, so sorry. I should be cleaning my room right now instead of filming, but here we are. I'm just gonna go in and do my eyeshadow now. So I'm just gonna take my brush that I usually use for powder, and then just tap whatever is left on it just onto my eyelids, just to make sure that they are ready for eyeshadow. Again, I don't normally set this concealer, but I just want to make sure my eyelids are nice and set down. It doesn't really crease too much on me either. Like, I mean, obviously, if you have creases under your eyes, any concealer is going to crease, and that's typically the case for me, but this one is really nice. Like, it looks totally fine still, and I've been sitting here doing my makeup for, I don't know, probably close to 20 minutes now. So, there you have it. I don't really know what I want to do with my eyes. Kind of thinking a combination of the Jaclyn Hill by Morphe and Blush Crush by ColourPop. This is one of my favorite palettes ever. I don't know, I'm just feeling pink today, so maybe some of these colors up here and some of the ones in here. So we'll see. See what we come up with. I'll walk you guys through this part because this is a little more detailed, I suppose. So I think I'm going to take the one, which is this nice like peachy shade here in the ColourPop palette, and just throw that in my crease as like a transition shade. I feel like I usually really struggle with shades like this because my skin is so fair and more like pink toned and cool toned, but this one is perfect. It's not like too orange, so I don't find that it like shows up like actually orange on my skin, and a lot of times peaches really do that for me. So I do like that this is a little more neutral pink, I suppose. Okay, let's go in. I'm gonna mix these two shades. So we're gonna take Cheek to Cheek from the ColourPop palette, and then this one here. MFEO from the Jaclyn Hill palette. So we're creating more of a like pinky type of crease color, but not too dark. And I'm using just the same brush for that. This is my tapered blending brush by Luxie. This is always my transition and first crease color brush. I've had multiple of these over the years and I love them. I honestly, if you are really looking to invest in brushes, I really recommend these Luxie ones. I ended up buying their, is it their 30 or their 40 piece set? I don't know, like their big brush bundle a couple years back for, I think it was Black Friday, when they did a Black Friday sale, and I got it for like half off, and it was 100% worth the money. And they do sales on it all the time, so definitely kind of look into their brush bundles because they make them a little bit more affordable. Okay. I'm thinking I'm gonna go just into that cheek to cheek shade there and kind of deepen up the crease a little bit more with the more tapered blending brush. This is the 229. The other one I believe is the 20. Gosh, I'm dropping everything. 205, I think. Just like so clumsy today. Literally keep like dropping and knocking everything over, which it's fine. And then I'm just gonna go back into that first shade that we used and just make sure everything is nice and blended and kind of diffused up top here. Okay. While we're here, we're gonna take the pencil brush that I have and we're gonna go in, so again, then just that first shade and go all along the lower lash line. So we're gonna kind of just mimic that pattern that we did on the top there. So I'm gonna mix those two shades then. And just go kind of 3/4 of my lash line there. Okay, and then I'm gonna take just this blush shade and go about halfway along my lower lash line. Just adding and creating more like dimension and depth. And then I'm gonna take my big fluffy blending brush and go right underneath there just to make sure everything's nice and cleaned up. And then I'm gonna take the more tapered brush again. Let's see, what brown do we want to go in with? All right, I'm gonna mix actually, again, this How Rouge shade. And then we're gonna take it with, let's do this like slightly warmer brown here. This one is Chip, I believe, yes. So a little bit of that. And the How Rouge shade, the ColourPop one, does have like those little micro glitters in it, but I don't find that they show up super well unless you either use your finger or like really stamp the pigment on. So because we're blending it in, I'm gonna take it on the outer corner and then just like slightly into the crease. I don't find that I ever really have an issue with it showing up too much, which I don't mind a little bit because I think it helps like the shimmer shades that I use like blend in better. So I don't mind it, but I know some people really do. I'm a little heavy on that eye. Oops. Okay, so once I've applied it, I'm going to take the big fluffy brush again and then just blend that in. Okay, I'm going to take my concealer brush and just kind of clean up a little bit. Again, I went a little bit much, like a little heavy-handed on that darker shade here. This doesn't actually have like anything on it because I did not use it today. But I'm gonna take my sponge. Same concept. All right, and then I'm just gonna clean up in the like inner corner area here too, just to make sure I don't have any like shadows going on where we don't want them. I want to keep the inner corners like nice and bright. Okay, I'm gonna take those two shades again and mix them on my little baby pencil brush. And then just take that really close to the lower lash line. And I'm only going about halfway in with that as well. Alright, and then taking my, I have this other powder brush by Luxie that I haven't actually used. It's like completely clean. And I'm just gonna take that and kind of swipe the edges along here. Because again, I'm super messy and I hate doing my eyes before my face makeup. So we're not like setting down anything. We are literally just cleaning everything up with this brush just to diffuse it out. Okay, I'm gonna go in and just touch up my highlighter really quick if I can find my highlighter brush, because I did brush some of that away. Okay. Trying to decide which shimmer I want to go in with. I do love this Papa Bottle shade from the Blush Crush palette. It's a Super Shock shadow, so those are really nice. We might use that actually on the inner corner, I think. I'm thinking of going in with this pink one. Which one is this? This looks like it, Faint is what it's called. So I'm just gonna take that and go in on my entire eyelid. I think that the shimmers in this palette are one of my favorite shimmer formulas, but I know that they reformulated this Jaclyn Hill palette, and it makes me so sad because my favorite shimmer shade ever is in this palette, and that's Obsessed, this one down here that looks like I have like used the crap out of it, because I have, because it's just so like wet looking on the eye, and I love it. Okay, I'm just gonna take that more dense brush that we used the darker color on. I'm just gonna pat whatever is left over on the outer corner and then just kind of blend a little bit. And then taking the fluffy brush and just blending up above that shimmer shade just to make sure that there's no like crazy harsh lines or anything. And then I'm going to take my pinky and just dip a little bit of that Papa Bottle shade, which look how pretty that is. Stunning. And I'm just going to kind of pat it in my inner corner here. Okay, I'm gonna take my little highlighter brush, if I can get it out, and I'm gonna pick up just a little bit of that. These don't necessarily always pick up super well on a brush, but I do like that just picking up that little amount just for kind of diffusing it and blending it in a little bit. You definitely get your like the best effect with your finger, for sure. But for blending purposes, the brush does just fine. And if you really just want like a sheer wash of that like shimmer glitter, it's perfect. Okay, so there it is. I'm also gonna mix a little bit of the first shade in the palette, the Jaclyn Hill palette here. This one is in light. It's a little bit more of a pink toned shimmer, and these are stunning for inner corner and brow bone highlights. So I'm gonna layer that a little bit on top because Papa Bottle is a little bit glittery, and this is more just like shimmer. It just like really glows. And I'm gonna take that for the brow bone as well. All right, that is the eyes. Okay, let's do, set those over on my bed. I'm gonna set my face down. When I do wear this foundation, I do like to use a more, like, not a hydrating setting spray, something that's gonna like last a little longer. So I have the Milani Make It Last setting spray. I don't love the sprayer on this though. It's like super harsh, so you have to hold it like really far away from your face, I feel like. Just fanning it out, and then I'm gonna go in with my sponge and just tap everything in just to make sure that it is set down perfectly. So I do find that that helps kind of the longevity aspect as far as like not setting my foundation, since I do typically not use a more mattifying and long-lasting setting spray. I usually go for something with a little bit more like glow in it. So all right, I'm gonna go ahead and do my mascara really quick. I'm gonna use the Lancome lash primer, the Essence Lash Princess, and then the NARS Climax mascara. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, like 20 hours later. I feel like that took me forever to put on my mascara. Don't ask me why. I'm gonna go in with the ColourPop Ultra Satin Lip in the shade Alyssa. This is, I believe it was a collaboration with Kathleen Lights. It's one of my favorite pink shades though. And I love the Ultra Satin formula. I think they're super comfortable. But they last just as long as the Ultra Matte in my opinion. And the applicator is small enough that I can use it to kind of line my lips, so I don't feel like I need any extra lip liner or anything. All right, final look here. So get a little closer so you can see how the foundation looks. I don't find that it emphasizes any texture on my skin. This here looks a lot better than it would with a lot of foundations, this spot. And just this whole side of my chin really tends to get really dry and flaky because of my acne, and it kind of tends to look a little like crepey and cakey even with like light coverage foundations. So I really do love how this one looks. I honestly don't think I've ever had a day where I haven't liked it, and I love it with this this primer here. This primer is really a good match for it. I also used the Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream underneath too, so that always adds a little bit of extra like luminosity and glow too, so I think the combination of those two is just fantastic for this. And I don't have any filters or anything. I film all my videos on my phone, so what you see is what it really looks like. So last close-up shot. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I really do like this foundation. I would definitely recommend it. I ended up getting it on a sale, so I think for the price point, it is definitely worth the money, especially if you can find a sale on it. Even if not, I think that it's, if you like a higher coverage foundation, you're probably gonna like this. And I'll put the price right up over here in the corner, and a couple of other details and stuff just about this foundation, like how much it has and in it and everything. So Dose of Colors foundation, definitely approved, and I love the concealer. I 100% recommend this concealer. I like this better than Shape Tape, which I know is like a bold claim for a lot of people, but it doesn't feel as drying as Shape Tape does to me, and since I have such dry skin, I think that Shape Tape just kind of really looks like cracky and like crumbly and cakey under my eyes. It just never sits right. I like Shape Tape for like covering up blemishes and stuff, but even then I feel like I just don't get the same coverage out of it as I do with this one. This one, like my under eye circles, I feel like are just gone. Like there's no trace of like darkness there at all, and I don't get that with Shape Tape. So I think that if you're looking for a concealer that covers blemishes, that covers under eye circles, this is amazing. And again, I don't even have to set it with powder at all. If you're oily, obviously I would probably recommend that, but if you have more dry to normal skin, try it out. Try not setting it, see both of them, like how you feel about them, and I think that it's a really good choice. Again, not using powder is kind of revolutionary for me. It's a bit different, but yeah. Thanks for watching, and if you aren't subscribed, please do so, and I'd really appreciate it if you like and leave a comment below for me, but until next time, thank you, bye!